Lawyers for singer R. Kelly have filed a motion asking for his immediate release from prison. They say there is a clear and imminent threat to his life. Lawyers claim there's an effort to kill Kelly to cover up government misconduct. He was convicted in 2021 on multiple charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking. R. Kelly currently being held in a federal prison in North Carolina. His lawyers want R. Kelly released on home detention on a temporary furlough. We've reached out to the Bureau of Prisons and the U.S. Attorney's Office for comment.
They called him dangerous, but not because he attacked R. Kelly. That was only the tip of something much darker. In a cramped federal jail cell in downtown Chicago, R&B singer R. Kelly was brutally assaulted while sleeping. The attacker, a man the world barely knew until now. His name is Jeremiah Farmer, a former Latin king, a convicted murderer, a man claiming he was forced to attack R. Kelly to get the world's attention. But why? What was he trying to expose? And how far was he willing to go to be heard? This isn't just about R. Kelly. This is about murder, corruption, and the message written in blood.
R. Kelly is spending more time in prison after being sentenced federally for child pornography and enticement of minors for sex. He got 20 years in prison today. He will serve all but one of those years simultaneously with a 30-year sentence for racketeering and sex trafficking. The judge ordered Kelly to serve 1 year in prison following the racketeering sentence, making him eligible for release at around the age of 80.
R. Kelly recently got stabbed in prison.
Oh, he was stabbed and wasn't beat up? He wasn't beat up?
Well, he was beat up and apparently stabbed like with a pen.
Wow.
Just think, a couple years ago, he was touring the world. He was making royalties off his records.
Yes.
Beautiful women were throwing themselves at him.
Yes, they were. Yes.
You know, he was wealthy. He
Yes.
was living in big homes and had
Yes.
women in Trump Tower and all types of other places.
Yes.
And now he's sitting in a cell getting beat up and stabbed with a pen.
August 26, 2020. Inside the Metropolitan Correctional Center, R. Kelly lies sleeping. Outside, the world is locked down from COVID-19. Inside, Farmer is pacing. According to prison records, he disobeys direct orders, walks into another unit, and storms Kelly's cell. Within seconds, he's on top of the Grammy winner, pounding him, no diddy, fist to head, torso, over and over. A staffer tries to intervene. He's ignored. Only pepper spray stops the assault. Later, Kelly is placed in solitary confinement. Farmer is relocated, but the motive? That wouldn't be revealed until weeks later. In a handwritten legal motion titled, "The Government Made Me Attack R. Kelly," Farmer confessed. He claimed it wasn't personal, it was strategy.
Tonight, an inmate claims he snuck into R. Kelly's jail cell to attack the singer. This is Jeremiah Farmer, who claims he was forced to beat the Grammy winner. Kelly was asleep in his cell at Chicago's Metropolitan Correctional Center last Wednesday when he was attacked. Farmer, in jail for racketeering conspiracy, lays it all out in this appeal to the 7th Circuit. Farmer writes he was, quote, forced to assault hip-hop and R&B singer R. Kelly in hopes of getting spotlight attention and world news notice to shed light on the government corruption, end quote. R. Kelly is behind bars facing dozens of sex abuse charges, all of which he has denied. Kelly's attorneys have repeatedly asked for the singer's release while he awaits trial. So far, all those requests have been denied.
Attorneys for R. Kelly confirmed the singer is now in solitary confinement in a downtown federal prison after an altercation earlier this week. They say he was moved there for his own protection, not as punishment. The singer's lawyer says that Kelly was targeted by a fellow inmate at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. The R&B star is in federal lockup, awaiting multiple trials on dozens of sex crime charges.
Farmer's motion reads like a plea for help and a warning. He says he was forced into the attack to expose blatant government corruption, that lawyers had conspired against him, that justice was out of reach. He couldn't access legal files, couldn't make copies, and no one was listening. So he took aim at one of the most famous inmates in America, hoping the world would ask why. But few did, and what most missed was that Jeremiah Farmer wasn't just any inmate. His past is soaked in blood. June 25th, 1999. 2 men lay dead inside Calumet Auto Rebuilders in Hammond, Indiana. Their bodies battered beyond recognition. Marion Laurie, 74. Harvey Seegers, 67. Their skulls shattered by a hammer. One had his eye torn from its socket. The police were baffled until a single clue changed everything. A pair of distinctive sunglasses found near the bodies. They belonged to Jeremiah Farmer. Witnesses described seeing a man flee the scene. Blonde, white, fast. A sketch was drawn. The face unmistakable. To some, the message was clear. This wasn't random. It was a warning. And it came from the Latin Kings. The Latin Kings, one of the most feared gangs in America, known for strict codes, brutal enforcement, and absolute loyalty. Initiation meant blood. Staying in meant obedience. Leaving often meant death. Farmer joined in the 90s. He sold drugs, committed assaults, and bragged of leadership within the gang, even from behind bars. He beat a man with a brick to fund gang operations, used a crowbar to silence a suspected snitch, shot up a house just to make a point, and yet none of it made headlines until he touched someone famous.
The Chicago police officers are accused of helping the Latin Kings simply terrorize the people of the city's far southwest side, southeast side, and Indiana, carrying on brazenly criminal activity while wearing the uniform of those who normally act heroically every day. It could not have been easy for Chicago's top cop to be upbeat about a multi-state takedown of alleged gang members, not when 2 of his guys, retired officer Antonio C. Martinez Jr., who lives here, and Alex Guerrero, who was on duty when arrested and also lives on the far southeast side, are alleged to have helped them steal money, drugs, and run a criminal enterprise.
It's unspeakable. It's something that we cannot tolerate. And it reminds us that we need to redouble our efforts to ensure the integrity of all of our officers.
U.S. Attorney for Northern Indiana David Kapp unveiled indictments today from a grand jury that alleged 15 members or associates of the Latin Kings conspired to run drug and weapons rackets and killed at least 19 people in the Chicago Northwest Indiana area.
In Farmer's own words, the R. Kelly assault was not about violence. It was a desperate signal flare. He claimed every legal path was blocked, that the system was rigged against him, that he had evidence of corruption but no platform. Attacking Kelly was his way of cutting through the noise, to force eyes on his case. But did it work? Not quite. A judge denied any attempt to use the attack as leverage. The courts moved on, and Farmer was sentenced to life in prison for his earlier crimes. Kelly, meanwhile, remained behind bars, his own legal troubles far from over. Farmer was once again silenced, but not forgotten. What do you make of a man like Jeremiah Farmer, a cold-blooded killer, a product of the streets, a desperate inmate with nothing left to lose? Was his attack a calculated stunt, a deranged cry for attention, or something else? In the end, we're left with a haunting picture. A gangland enforcer turned jailhouse assailant, a celebrity victim whose fame turned the spotlight for just a moment, and a justice system where truth often hides behind headlines.
R. Kelly loses another appeal. Today, a federal appeals court upheld his conviction on racketeering and sex trafficking charges. Kelly was convicted on those federal charges in Brooklyn in 2021. He was also convicted on federal child sex charges here in Chicago in 2022.
Attorneys are asking President Donald Trump to release their client immediately, saying prison officials have hired an inmate to murder him. Kelly is serving a 30-year sentence for sexual misconduct at a federal prison in North Carolina. Today, Kelly's legal team filed an emergency motion in Chicago federal court to get him out. They say they have a sworn affidavit from a terminally ill inmate who says prison officials offered him freedom in his final days in exchange for Kelly's murder.
There have been discussions not only with Michael Stein, but as the motion indicates, we've recently received information from another inmate named Mr. Harris. And Mr. Harris has indicated that he too has been approached by the same lieutenant who's been approaching Michael Stein, and that discussions have been had about poison in the food hall, about poison in the commissary. Discussions with Mr. Stein have been had about stabbings. These are the kinds of methods that have been discussed.
Well, Kelly's attorney also says 2 inmates were approached by high-ranking prison officials to carry out the murder. Kelly was convicted in 2022 in Chicago of child pornography. The year prior, he was convicted in federal court in New York of racketeering conspiracy charges. The disgraced singer is not eligible for release until the year 2045. Of course, this is a story we will continue to follow. Terrence and Sylvia.
One man's hammer shattered more than skulls. It cracked open a chilling look into violence, loyalty, desperation, and silence. This story isn't just about R. Kelly. It's about the man who hit him and why. Alright, y'all, there y'all have it. That's the crazy story of Jeremiah Farmer, the Latin king that stabbed R. Kelly with a pen. Hey man, get in that comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Drillers and trappers, we out here trapping and drilling 247. Don't go nowhere. Watch that next video. Gang!